Yes, folks, welcome back to the Man United Agenda, and we're going to be bringing you some gossip that seems to be doing the rounds on the grapevine at the moment regarding our great club and the personnel that are involved with the running of said club and possible future people running the club. Hold on. Yes, welcome back to the Man United Agenda. We're here, me, OMONDI, and Rebel are all in the building. Okay, guys, we've got a little bit of news, definite news from the club, and also some sort of, I would say, solid rumours, considering where they've come from, around the managerial position. So, but I suppose we best just start with what we know is at the club, i.e. Mr. Woodward. And in his current capacity, we know what his role is, etc. What have you heard about this, Monday?
You know me, I'm a football man. This business side of thing, I don't really pay no mind to it. But I know Ed Woodward to me is the equaliser. I don't know if you know, guys, just watch the show. Yeah, that to me is Ed Woodward. So this guy, I don't know, he's a fraud, and he is a fraud. Apparently, no one seems to like him. He's a money man, isn't he? He's a chief executive of Man United. That means he's an overseer. He sits there in his watchtower and watches over proceedings and seems to generate money. We're a profit-making organisation, and he's the man who's making profit for Man United. But a lot of people, this is not me. Like I say, I'm not expert in this, but a lot of people suggest that even though he might be making a lot of money for the club, that's his job. He's doing a good job in that respect. The football club, we haven't won a title for several years, and it's not sort of the money, the profit, and all that kind of thing is not being invested maybe correctly in players, in management, and all these kind of issues. So I thought he was supposed to leave, but apparently it seems like he might be staying, maybe under a new role or something. But we see this thing a lot in top politics and top company organizations. Even like, just for example, where I work, you get a lot of these guys coming in, big wigs coming in, and then I'm thinking, we're not getting a pay rise, point pay rise this year. But you see these big wigs coming in, and they're like troubleshooters. They come in, say, we're here to do this. They only last for a few months. It's like they've got a mates thing, secret club. I'm not going to go to, and they move from place to place. Say, oh, John, do you want to come over to this organisation and do your bit for 6 months? So I don't really like these people. I like the sport. This ain't sport to me. This is business, and business never personal. And thing, as they say, as EPMD would say. So I'm not a big fan of that side of things. Ed Woodward's apparently staying on. I just think he's there to generate more money for the club. In a way, that's a good thing. But I want to see it transforming it onto the pitch where we are doing bits on the pitch. So yeah.
I mean, before I come to you, Rebel, I'm just going to quickly shout out who I can see in the chat, and we'll come to your comments, folks. We've got Sarragon McKenna, we've got Bath Time with Vaughan, Solo, Mac, Gemini, and that's about it for the moment. But listen, folks, we'll get to your comments shortly. But so Rebel, what's your take on Ed Woodward position at the club right now?
Well, when he came here, first of all, you have to remember he was working alongside David Gill. David Gill was the football man, and he was the businessman. He got these very nice Jaffa cake sponsorships, these T-shirt sponsorships, and whatever sponsorship you could think of type situation sorted out for us. That was his role. He was in charge of bringing money into the club for the investors to get out of it. But then he decided in his wisdom that he could do what a football man could do and take over the running of the football side of the club. And that coincided with probably our longest barren stretch for league title in a long time. And he never really sat into that role. And it seems like what they're trying to do is the Glazers were pretty much very much involved with Mr. Woodward in the takeover process when that took place originally. And they want to maintain his presence at the club. And there's a lot of deals, apparently, that he put together that are going to be running for a number of years to come. And the story that they're giving us is that he's integral to be in there to advise on the satisfying of the conditions that were put together for those sponsorship deals. And that is why the Glazers deemed that it was necessary for him to continue in his role.
Yeah, look, I mean, that's the thing here is if the success would have matched what Edward has done in terms of for the finances for the club, we'd be all like, up, skipping and jumping and praising him. But obviously, you break it down and you look at how they've gone about what they've done at the club in terms of bringing people in. It's just not worked, has it? It's been a total failure all around. And I think I've heard rumours that this is why he won't sack Ollie, because it'll be a total failure from his point of view. Every manager he's brought in has been sacked. So, yeah, which would, you look at it from that point of view, you think, yeah, okay, that wouldn't look great. But what's annoying me here is that Man United are coming out and just saying in a consultancy role. What type of consultancy role are you talking about here? There's so many different types. He's talking about the sporting side. He's talking about the financial side, welfare side. Where are you coming at us? And this is where the club, for me, the Glazers, they don't do themselves any help whatsoever by not being in front of us and telling us exactly what's going on. They should be telling us exactly what's going on right now at the club with Ollie. And with they're looking at if they are wanting to bring a new face in, they've got to be open and honest. Today we deserve that. We're the fans. We're the one who pay the money. We buy the merchandise, So that really annoys me. And I guess from what you just said, Rebel, it seems that okay then, this consultancy role is going to be around the finances quite clearly because that's what he's good at. He's not going to get involved with the sports side, blah blah, is he? Because he's just not good at it. He doesn't understand it. So you know what? Look. Yeah, it's disappointing because we all thought, it's going to be a clean break from this guy because he's obviously failed in the footballing sense, but clearly not. And the Glazers certainly, they see the value in this guy. Of course they do, because they've just got to look at the money that they've skimmed off what he's brought in. If you, well, that's the way, isn't it? The bigger the head, the more you can skim off. So that's what he's done. So they're like, oh, wait a minute, can we really let this guy go? We enables us to take out 20, 30 million a season in dividends or whatever it is, and this payment and that payment, no, they can't lose that because that's their pin money. Let's have it right. That's pin money for the Glazers. They can go out, buy a load of fancy cars, do whatever, live a great lifestyle and all that malarkey. So yeah, he was always, he seemed a little bit too far-fetched in it that he was just going to make a clean break and go, right, you know what, I'm off now and that's it, I'll leave you to the finances. Nah. I suppose really in hindsight, we should have expected they were never going to do that. I don't know what you think about that on Monday.
Look, this guy, he's got powers that we don't have, and he's making decisions. It seems like he's making decisions about his own job title. Let me create a new job title for myself so I can hang around, or there's still something to be made here, or it's, I don't know. It's just a big business. Like I say, business never personal. It's ruthless up there. They don't really feed down. You don't get that communication coming down to the bottom to us, the fans. Because we're below the players, we're below the staff, all that kind of thing. The tea lady, we're right at the bottom. So what we hear is only half truths. I feel a lot of the time, and like you said, there's no accountability a lot of time for these guys who are making decisions with big money. And they're worse than Solo with his gambling thing. They gamble money ridiculously, and they're not accountable for it because we can't see really what's going on. Once a year, you might have an annual meeting where they do the figures and everything else. But is that the truth? I doubt it. There's a lot of skullduggery and nastiness going on in that business world. And what always gets me about business is that to be in this sort of world and the capitalist system that we live in, and even with the Premiership and how that's been transformed, you can see there's so much change in the last 20, 30 years. To get to the top, you have to be ruthless. You have to be a mean mofo, And these people, when you meet these guys, they're soulless. as far as I'm concerned. I'm just talking on the human level. You know,
No,
you guys are my buddies. I know it's like it's real thing, vibes, everything else. But these people, because they're on this sort of different level, they're dealing on a different sort of plane to us, different kind of spiritual plane. So I'm not really down with these people. That's why I don't really dig them, or I don't invest. I'm not money orientated and that kind of thing, because it leads to corruption and greed and all these kind of things. So these people, I don't really like. You know, if I see Ed Woodward, I'm walking past him like that. I've got no love for him, no thing. Well, who are you to me? You know, I'm greater than him in my mind. You know, so I don't really chat about these guys.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think? What do you think, Rebel?
Just to clarify one thing, Bossman Solo, if you're watching, I got to distance myself from that OMONDI comment on your betting habits. I had nothing to do with it.
We talk about everything on this show. We have to just be honest, you know.
But I also want to hold my hand up. Yesterday, I gave a fact on yesterday's show, and I see Bat Times with us, and I said that Mr. Henderson was on 250,000 a week. I had bad intel in front of me. It's 150. So
I was going to say that to you yesterday, but I thought maybe he's got an increase recently. I didn't know about, but I was going to drop that. Well, you are a candidate. You are now a suspect and a candidate for the OMONDI of the week. You're in the running, mate.
Yes, Friday night, folks. Listen, tune in Friday night. The Friday night takeaway, Mr. B and myself, and maybe one of these handsome dudes right in front of you as well. We will be discussing the OMONDI of the week, because there's still a lot of time yet for that to be added to. But as it stands, Rebel, I've got to admit, mate, you are looking like favourite, mate. You're looking favourite.
Even so, a bit on you.
It is a public vote, so it's all in the hands of the public vote. Let's just make that clear. But to come back to the business at hand, Mr. Woodward, obviously he's had a reign of terror in the footballing side. I don't think anybody can disagree with that. We had the absolute shambles that was his opening transfer window, which was the Bale debacle. And we know what his history was like from there. In terms of his presence and the maintaining of his presence, I don't think they were ever going to actually really move him on from the club, because he is their right-hand man. He was part of a financial institution. He was integral to their takeover of Manchester United, and he's integral to a lot of the key sponsorship deals that we've done at the end of the day. But what we do need, though, is we do need to look at the way that we're structured at Mr. Woodward's level. We brought in this new transfer positions, Fletcher and what's the other guy's name?
Myrtle.
Yeah. And they were supposed to be the ones that were working with the manager in order to provide sustainability and certainty into the way that we do our business, and basically identify the squad needs. And the way things are going, if we were maintaining this Woodward fella, then that's another layer along with the board. And if I think we will be going on to this, the rumours in a while, this Rangnick lad comes in. Ultimately, from my understanding, his preference is not to maintain a role as a manager, but to be a director of football and be involved in putting together the structures and systems of running an efficient football club with whatever amount of money that is deemed that he is attributed to run his department. That then takes control away from your boards, from your Glazers, from your Woodwards, and it leaves a lot of questions as to whether or not they would be prepared to release that level of control, because ultimately Rangnick is going to want to appoint a manager to succeed him with affairs in the summer. So what we're talking about here is, if it happens, is a quick fix in terms of on-field management, but leading to a more long-term, more detailed systems overhaul at the footballing level above the manager.
Well, for me, I for one would most definitely welcome that. And you know what? Maybe it's time now for the Glazers to understand that this is the kind of direction they need to go in. They must now know that it's failed and failed and failed and failed, everything they've tried before. So maybe these are the early rumblings and early signals then of this shift, and they are heading into that direction. So if Edward's going to Ed Woodward's going to stay in this consultancy role, then yeah, I could see how that would make sense in terms of the finances side of things, working alongside someone like Rangnick. But seeing as though you've brought him up, this is the other part of the show where we now start to discuss our friend Ralph Rangnick. So the rumours are that Ed Woodward himself, whilst still in his capacity as the boss man, he's looking at Ralph Rangnick as a replacement, potential sort of make weight, shall we say, between another decision being made in terms of full-time position. But again, as you quite clearly said, Rebel, in them going on to the DOF, at the club, which again would make sense because we do need to go down that path, I believe. So in terms of the manager himself, if these rumours are true, which they've come from some I would say sort of credible sources, the Independent being one, talking about this. I mean, listen, they're always going to push things about, but I think, when you hear these kind of stories, you go, right, okay, then it's worth talking about because it's coming from a source like that. Then yeah, it's worth talking about. And for me, it's not just them who's mentioned his name. His name's been mentioned many times before. So, but I want to talk about really. I mean, what do we know about this fella, and is he right for the club in the short term? What do you think, OMONDI?
I think he's right for the club, 100%. This is the guy. The issues that we talk about. I'll just use the words of Rio Ferdinand, what he said the other day. Finally, he said what he needs to say, which is the truth, which we can all see for a long time now, is that Ollie doesn't have any style of play, doesn't have philosophy. We've said it a time and time again. I get sick of repeating it over and over again. So no identity at the club. And this is what. So when you need something to fall back on, there's nothing there for the players to say, okay. Things become automatic on the pitch sometimes. All right, this is where I'm supposed to be, this is where I'm drilled, this one's but there's none of that. It doesn't seem. The only reason I can say it's none of that because it's evident now over a long period of time. There's nothing there. Okay, so this guy Ralph Rangnick or whatever his name is, he is like a genius, a guy who's brought his own philosophy. He's evidenced it, say at Hoffenheim, and he evidenced it at Red Bull that he's got a nice philosophy of play. This is his book. He's the author, and he's calm enough now to say, I'm proven. He can sit back and say, this is my philosophy. Anyone wants to come and get tips, it's like going to the village elder to get some advice, all that kind of thing. Well, and any football lover of formations and tactics and styles and systems, everything else, you have to read his book. I mean, when I say read his book, don't say physically read his book, but understand his philosophy.
Yeah,
sorry?
Just people go and have a look at him, have a look at his history, have a look at what he does. Because apparently, I mean, I don't know if you're going to go on to that right now, Monday, about the pressing. This was. I mean, he's been around for years, but now he's never really. He's sort of come off the manager tip. Now it must be more investment or something. Doing higher up, director of football. People don't understand what really director of football means. To me, it's what it says it is. It's directing the football strategy or the philosophy throughout the club, from the watchtower, saying, so this is how the directives from youth all the way through. This is the way we want everyone to play. So it's drilled, so it becomes automatic. Anyone coming into the club will have to understand, read the book, know the philosophy, know where they have to be, everything else. And this is what's educated into the players, into the staff. So that's what's inputted into the game and the outcome is you see it on the pitch. And you've seen success with him with this philosophy. And then we've also seen other guys come along and tweak it. So you talk about high press, talking about lines of four, like diagonally thing, always a sort of that triangle which Pep uses, which Cruyff uses. It's a mix and blend of a thing. But he's saying this, he put his own signature on it, saying this is my style. So he's probably tweaked a few things from other tactics, because I think tactics evolve. Eventually we're going to get around to tactics what we were using in the 1920s. That's how it goes around like that. So he's tweaked it, got his own style, put his signature on it. I suggest everyone go out there, read. And we're not going to go through everything right now, but he's got a distinct way of playing. And we see a bit of Klopp, bit of Pep, bit of Cruyff in the way that the team presses. The team have got an identity and everything else, and this is what he uses. So guys, just everyone go out there. If he's going to be our manager or involved with our club, we should go out there and learn what it is. Same way when Louis van Gaal came into the club, Man United, we had to learn, get his book, understand, look at his plays, everything else,
to see where we were going with that. And it's the same thing that he tried to employ. So I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing because it's something our current manager is not giving us that. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's why it's important. Bring this guy in, then move him up to maybe director of football so he can like start it now as manager on the front line and then sit back, like I said, bring in his own man and give advice like that and then start implementing this style all throughout the club. And it will be effective for us.
I mean, for me, it excites me greatly, because what I know about Rangnick, about his pressing, what other managers have picked up from it and learned, and like you say, tweaked in different clubs, etc., and took it forward. But it does excite me greatly. But as we know, with football, no system or style of play is ever going to guarantee you any kind of victory. But on the other hand, if you look how Jurgen Klopp utilizes it, it's about for him it's the balance of right. Okay, we're going to high press you. We're going to be right in your face. We're going to stop you getting out. We're going to have you when you're going to have you out of shape, and then we're going to take full advantage of that because we'll be in good spaces when we retrieve the ball back. So the transition from defending to attacking is like minute. It's instant, bang, you're there because you've got the ball so high up the pitch in their half. But then the balance of that is okay. So what if we lose possession, and you then maybe counter on us? We've got some great defenders who've got legs to get back. They'll read the game well, etc. But on top of that, it's the conversion rate, which I keep banging on about, which I've been banging on about for ages with Liverpool, the numbers game. So the amount of chances that you're going to create from playing like that far outweighs what the opposition are going to create. And not only that, on top of that, you've got great forwards who are going to convert those chances. So if you put all that together and then do the numbers on it, it's like, well, you can't lose. All right, okay, yeah. Right. Okay, look at the West Ham game, but listen, right, Robertson was definitely not on it. Robertson was not on it. People are talking about Robertson, a couple of other players, blah, blah, blah. Listen, like I said, you're never going to win every single game playing it. However, what it will do is it gets the players at it. The players love it. There's nothing better, as you agree, Amondi, as being a player, than when you're playing fast-paced attacking football. It just gets you so revved up. You're so revved up because you're always on it and thinking forward attack. Let's get in good positions where we can actually create and score goals and give assists, etc. So it's all round for me. It's a great thing. And yeah, all right. It takes a lot of how should I say, effort. It takes a lot of effort and lifestyle changes in order to sustain such a style of play. I did talk about this that's what 2.5 years ago, something like that. It was about can they sustain this type of play? Because listen, it's like Pep Guardiola at Manchester City. The sacrifices that need to be made in order for a team to consistently play like that is massive. And again, this is where when Pep was talking about certain players, you're either on board or you're not. In other words, you either do it my way or you walk. Because if you want to be successful, and you want to be a winner, right? You have to do what I am telling you to do because I know it works. And I know it will bring success. So, Rebel, what's your thoughts on our friend Rangnick?
Well, I suppose it's no surprise that we're getting these sort of rumours again because of obviously, as we know at this stage, there's planned protests again for this Saturday, and it's not exactly surprising that we're hearing leaks of potential contact with the likes of Rangnick there. But I suppose when you're looking at this guy, you're looking at a guy that overhauled Leipzig. He brought in a system for the way that transfers work. Now, at the time, Leipzig were very much a develop and sell club. And he brought in a system of development and he made good money for his assets that he had cultivated. And it's no surprise that Jurgen Klopp, Nagelsmann and Tuchel all credit this man with their style of coaching. Like, there's a good point though made by Bat Time. I did notice it as I was going through. Ronaldo probably would suffer in the type of press that he would look to establish, but this guy's intelligent. He's going to figure out how to use Ronaldo and still develop his style and ultimately then be thinking obviously on the years beyond Ronaldo, because obviously he's going to be looking not only in his 6 months as a manager, if that so happens, he's going to be looking at if I'm getting in, whoever I'm getting in June or July, I'm going to put the system in place that they just literally pick up the tools and carry on because they will know exactly where I left off. But This guy is a very intelligent guy. He's currently only after signing a contract with Lodeval League Moscow for 3 years in July. So clearly, with the amount of money that they have at their disposal in Russian football, they know what this man is about. They know what he can do. And if we're looking to bring this man in, then obviously it's only be something that'd be very positive, because it'll take us back to a place where we haven't been, 10 years?
Yeah.
And looking at our club from a football first perspective. Whatever goes on the Woodward side of things, if that's happening, grand. The Glazers will have their money out of it, but whatever goes towards the football side of things, we will have football people looking after if this guy comes in.
No, I 100%.
Sorry, one more thing, just very short, quickly. The whole thing is this, right? Players need to be on board with, like you're saying, with the whole tactic. If someone comes in and said, this is my philosophy, bam. After a game, if we play badly or something, you can go after it. And it's, everyone would argue, say this, that, this happened, no, this happened. It wouldn't be like that. It would be like, no, were you positioned where you're supposed to be?
Yeah.
Under our philosophy. And the answer would be, no one can argue, say, well, no, I wasn't. So that's what we need to do. So do you tell me it leaves that sort of element of indecision and like saying the manager's rubbish or doesn't know what he's doing? No, because the whole club will be under this. It will be bred. So in about 3-4 years' time, all these youngsters coming through will be on it. They will know exactly, and they could dictate. No, senior player, you were supposed to be there. You know, and there can be no argument about it. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I think it also helps getting all players and everyone on board, because you can't turn around and say, you didn't make that run or you did it. Here's the plan. Yeah. If you stuck to the plan, we can go back and review it afterwards and say, and see who was doing what, who was right and who was wrong. And if the system is in place, then it leaves that element of doubt or argument out. It throws it out all out the window.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, if you take that into the youth setup that we've got with some of this great talent we've got, bringing it forward into the team, I mean, wow, talk about setting the way for the future and the path. I mean, this is, for me, it's all culminating now, everything coming together, with us being so poor at the moment. And I say at the moment because let's have it right. Ole, in the last 2 seasons, did okay for us. We have to hold our hand up and say, yeah, he did okay. Okay, some of the performances weren't great, but we got, we got third, and then we got second. We got to the final. All right, we didn't win, but blah blah blah. But then it's more this season where things have just gone for a total nosedive, and it's like, well, is it, can you pull a Boeing 747 out of a nosedive at that kind of speed, so close to the ground? I don't think you can. And this is where, for me, with Ole, and I've said it before, I don't think he's strong enough to pull this group of players off the floor where they are right now, because that's where they are. They're on the floor, flat out, confidence issues. They've got, mentality issues. Where are we at as a club? Are we winning? Are we defending? Are we attacking? What are we doing? You're changing it from week to week. Where are we at? This is Manchester United. Us as fans are confused. Imagine what it's like as a player. So for me, yeah, there needs to be a total, it's like when you dislocate your ankle, you need to snap him back in place, because if you leave it, it's going to get harder and harder because of swelling. Then you've got to take things to get the swelling down. It all takes time. No, we need somebody to come in right now and just go snap, get back on, get us into this kind of style of football, because I would love to see us doing this kind of, the type of football, i.e. Liverpool play and some of the elements of Manchester City with the press, the passing game, just sort of taking the mick like we used to do a lot of the time. I mean, there's a lot of games that I can think of at the top of my head. My most two favourite games is the 8-2 against Arsenal and the Roma game, was it the 7-0 or 7-1?
7-1.
7-1. That was, I remember watching that game and sat there and I'm like, oh my, this was like, I'll tell you what, I was like beaming with pride. I wanted to just go out in the street.
It's an identity, isn't it? It's an identity. Yeah. I'm going back to that. I remember a game like in the early 90s with Fergie when we beat Norwich, who were a top team back then. And it was like counter-attack. Bam, Kanchelskis, Giggs, Sharp, Ince, all driving forward. And that was our identity at the time. Then Mourinho came along, really set us back for a bit. And Arsenal's team came along and really set us back, and we had to adapt again. And then we had to come with a new identity, tweak it, keep coming. That's our great manager. But just going back to one thing, this is the difference between Ollie and a guy like, whether it's Rangnick or whatever it is. Bring them on my show, Football Mastermind show, ask them what your chosen special subject is, and it would probably be, well, my philosophy, that's my subject. And Ollie would say, well, I'm not sure. Ollie would get 0 out of thing. Rangnick would know all the answers because it's set in stone. He knows it. Do you understand what I'm saying? He can freely talk about it. Ollie is winging it on his way to Norway, and hopefully it's a one-way ticket. To be honest,
you actually raise a good point, and I'm going to throw one last ingredient into the pot because I think you actually segued it lovely there on Monday. Is that if you're a manager that's under pressure, even if this trip to Norway was planned 6 months ago, that he was going to go home during the international break, whatever about giving the players some time off to try and step back from the circle of mayhem that we're currently in training, or at least that's what we're hearing, that the training is mayhem at the moment. If you're that manager, if you're under that much pressure, would you not be saying, I need to stay in Manchester, I need to work the processes, I need to engage with my coaching staff, I need to talk to my board? You would be setting out a number of things that you needed to do during that time off, regardless of whether you were taking training or not. So this, for me, is something that's very confusing to see that he's actually gone.
Rebel, do you know what? It's only you saying that right now. That penny has only just dropped in my mind. I didn't even think of that, and you're absolutely spot on, mate. I mean, come on. Do you know what? That didn't even enter my mind. I seen the pictures of him leaving on the plane, going to the plane with his family and everything else. But that never entered my mind. I'm thinking, now you've mentioned it, you're absolutely spot on, mate. What's he doing? And actually, let me ask you the question. Does that then give us a signal and a clue then that he's resigned to the fact that, look, I'm going to be going, I'm going, he knows he's going. He knows there's rumours around the club, he talks over the manager and everything else. He may know himself as well that he may only have the Watford game or 2 games when he comes back. So that's why he's so kind of like, well, you know what, I'm going to go away for a bit. Why not? Because otherwise, like you just quite eloquently said, he would stay at the club and try and get things, work hard. I mean, Alex Ferguson, you heard him in that documentary that he made about his, I can't remember what the documentary was called now, but after he'd had his brain hemorrhage and he come back and he talked about it, which was brilliant, by the way. And he apologising to his wife and that, and he's saying, that's one of the regrets is that I wasn't at home a lot because he was always at the club, always the club. It's like this is the everything and anything in your life is all around the club and what's going on at the club. And for you to say that now, it's really dropped the penny with me. And I'm just thinking, wow, there's a lot of different things we can read into that. And for me, I read from that is that Ollie knows that he's on borrowed time and he's got a couple of games. I was just going to say, Monday, if you want to just quickly go through some comments so we can...
just to add, I think, like in Superman, when he's under pressure, he goes north to the fortress of solitude, and stays up there. It's Norway, maybe that's where Ollie's off to, in Norway. I've never been there, but I imagine it looks like...
It don't make any sense to me, though, Monday.
But it's solitude. He's come to go and get some solitude. He's been under a lot of pressure lately, and we all can confirm. We all know that. It's a big club. He's under it. He's probably gone to chill with his family and reassess how he feels. Is he really up for this? That kind of thing. These are the kind of questions he'd be having around the dinner table, I'm sure. Look, there's so many people. I just want to shout people out, man, because bath time, man. Great comments. Football United TV, Matty, welcome. John K, how you doing, man? He's asking, can we turn it around? I'll let the comments answer that. We've said our piece, I think, on that. Saragon, how you doing, man? Big up, great comments as well. Andy Herbert, how you doing? Carrie, welcome again. Mark Gemini, big up, man. You're back. Where you been, Mark? Why you deserting us? I ain't seen you for a long time. Ankit is here. Ankit always chips him some great info. Even though he's a Chelsea fan, he's all-round football fan. That's the most important thing.
He's a great guy, Ankit. Go and check him out actually on his channel, Almighty Blues FC. Go and give him a look because he's a very, very knowledgeable guy and he's a really top bloke.
And in the same breath, Rich Sports as well, equally up there. I can't go through all the comments, but I've put them up throughout the show, and there's been some really interesting stuff here. A lot of stuff I've learned today as well, just talking to you guys and the guys in the comments about how football clubs run and all these kind of things. But the most important thing is we've got to be successful, and I think this is a positive move because it's given us something that we haven't got at the moment, which is someone with direction and conviction in what they're doing. There is no winging it with this system. This is the system. This is what our identity. This is how we play. Kind of thing, So, interesting.
like I said earlier, Amanda, for me, if we bring this chap in, I would be like uber excited. I really would. I won't be able to wait. I won't be able to sleep looking forward to even the first game. You know, never mind the third, fourth, and fifth, just because of the changes that he would bring into this squad. And we know, you know, whether he goes for the 4-3-3, because we know he does like augmentations of a 4-3-3 in a roundabout way. That's what he likes to use. So it could be a 4-3-3, depending on what he looks at our squad and thinks, you know what, 4-3-3 or 4-2-2-2, you know, and every other combination you can put around that in an attacking setup for pressing, then brilliant. I mean, I believe we've got the players to do that. And all right, we do need some additions because, as we know, there are certain the midfield. And this is one thing that I want to just point out quickly is that I will always sort of put on that it's always been a little bit unfair for Ole is the two of the midfields that we got, that even though he keeps picking them, are not good enough. These two players in our midfield, McFred, are nowhere near good enough. Not by a long chalk. And, you know, for him to keep putting his faith in them is a, you know, I mean, like I say, what's his name? Roy Keane said it himself. You know, he'd grab hold of Ollie and say, "Why are you playing Fred?" You know, I'd grab hold of him and say, "Why are you playing the pair of them? Why aren't you giving Donny van de Beek a chance?" You know, I know he said he can play the 10 and blah blah blah, and you go, "Well, look, give him a chance at the 6. Sorry, give him a chance to do it. If he can't do it, give him a full 90 minutes to prove himself." Because, like I've said early on Monday, like months ago, we were talking about, you know, games, and then I was saying about, when you come on as a new player or a youth player or whatever, when you come on, you've got to learn from your mistakes in game. That gives the manager confidence that you're actually listening to what's being said, instructions you're being given. But if you learn in game and start, you know, make atonements for your errors in the game, then you're like, yeah, okay, you're listening, you're learning. And then if players aren't doing that, then you go, yeah, okay, well, you know, I can't keep giving you the time.
Oh, another important factor, which I think is sort of underrated, I think it's the fans as well. I think, like, if the fans were like all the guys in our comments, I think it'd be a great, we'd be on the way to winning something. What it is, I think the English fans have always been like attack, and groan when we pass it backwards, or groan when we're doing something that's not lobbing the ball forward and tough and not going into tackles or something like that. The fans need to be a bit more educated, I think, in English football. And we've seen it, say the Man City fans, they were, you know, they've had to adapt to a Pep style. And the way I was really disappointed, I thought getting Louis van Gaal in, we didn't really sort of accept his style of play. It kind of slowed it down. It was all about space, positioning. It was his philosophy. He was trying to install it into us. And then we felt we became boring, or passing it sideways, or not building up too fast, or all these terms that we use. Got to pop it quickly, got to ping it around. Blah, blah, blah. When I was growing up in grassroots football, it was all about, get it forward, don't hang about, rush. You know, it's a complete contrast what you get in growing up in Holland or Spain, all these, Italy especially, where fans are more educated, I think, on football, and they will applaud the slower game or different tactics and everything else. And I think to become real football fans, we have to really acknowledge that we have to understand the games like chess and really master it to appreciate the finer arts of football as well. So don't just think, it will take time if someone new comes in to change things, but we just got to be patient with it and just let things happen. Don't be, oh, this is boring. Oh, if you're going to say it, then you have to articulate why you think it's boring. Or you can say, it's boring, but at least we can see some development here like this. Louis van Gaal, he was very disappointed. If you read, he's disappointed with Man United because he felt they were uneducated, the fans, because they didn't really cotton on. They didn't realise what was going on here, the slow change and development, you know? So that as fans take a lot of responsibility, I feel.
Yeah. Rebel, I think you got something to say about a shirt.
Final point of the night. First of all, if you're not already subscribed, make sure that you smash the subscribe button, because we are giving away a Bruno Fernandes signed shirt at 1,000 subscriptions to one of our lucky viewers. So make sure you are hitting that subscribe button to be in with a chance and to stay up to date with any Man United news. And just one final point, there was a comment there about how we're becoming Business FC. I don't think any of us are going to be naive enough not to admit that any owner is going to be in it for anything other than the money that they can get out of the club. But at the same time, a club can function in the footballing side of things and also make their owners money. And it is that balance that we have been missing at this club. And it's a system of play and a system of division in the upper echelons of the club is what's missing from taking us back to our Fergie era, where we had football and we were also a business generating money.
Yeah, exactly. Bang on. And like I say, I want to just thank everybody who comes along continually to support the channel. You know, all the comments, great comments, educational comments as well. You know, there's always a lot of things that we read, especially like, you know, bath time with Vaughan, Gemini, you know, Saragon. Great.
Yeah.
And I'd just like to welcome, I don't know how you say your name, Mr. HD Gamer, but never even give Moyes time. I know, look, this is the thing that we've rushed. We've always wanted to rush things, you know, a little bit too much, I think, at the club, because we wanted to get back that glory. But so, as we know it, you know, when you've been in that kind of had a manager at the club for that long, it's hard to kind of, you know, replicate it when they step down. And it was always going to be a difficult task for whoever took over. And yeah, I do agree that some managers were maybe not given enough time.
And what's not going to be a difficult task really this week is voting for the Monday of the week. Once again, Rebels, what are you playing there?
Yes, that's the Monday.
Anyway.
So Mr. B, if you're watching, Mr. B, clip it up, and that will be played on Friday night. Don't forget, folks, you can join us on Friday night for the Friday night takeaway. It will be myself, Mr. B, hopefully Mr. B, and I don't know who else will be joining us. But we'll have some, no doubt, really great, juicy topics to discuss on that show. But have you got anything else you want to add, guys, before we close this one out?
Yeah.
Just let's hope to stay positive and that our team is on an upturn. That's me closed out. Over to you on Monday.
Yeah, same thing. Everyone just stay positive, man. It's 2 weeks off. We are back tomorrow. We're doing a show tomorrow as well. So keep us updated with current affairs. Contact us on Twitter if you get any grapevine rumors, you got the ear to the streets, you know, anything, so we can have a topic of discussion, you know. And big up to, this is like our little boot room, you know. We have a little private boot room where we solve all the problems here. I love it. I really love it. Got my top panelists here, got my top subscribers and all that kind of thing in the comments. You guys are fantastic, man. Love it. All knowledge.
Definitely. Big up. I want to echo that on Monday. Yeah, like I say, the channel is nothing without our fans and our, you know, the people who subscribe and come into the comments, and every single one of you, we do appreciate everything you bring to the channel, and it's absolutely top notch. And we will be bringing also the news whenever we hear any news, any breaking news, you know, anything that kind of gets put out by Fabrizio or any kind of credible sources. We will be on it. We will bring it to you. We will have a discussion about it.
I've got my backbone here, just ready to go off, you know, and swing down my pole to the back cave where this is the cave, you know, and we get into gear, we get ready, you know. So any news, put the signal out, you know, and we'll be on it, guys. We'll be on it.
But listen, folks, we really appreciate your support, and like Amanda says, tune in tomorrow. There will be a show. Just keep an eye out for the notifications, and thank you so much for your support, and we will see you in the next one. Au revoir.